Hi, everyone. It's really good to be here with you this evening. Yes, we are talking marketing. So within the theme of Kickstarting 2025, I thought what we'd do is think about, well, what's our marketing master plan look like? How do we actually go from our goals, but really start thinking about turning all of that into sales? So that's what I'm going to be going through this evening with. So we're going to talk about from goals to sales. So how do you take your business goals and start thinking about boiling that down into making sales? So let's just talk about this picture here. Has anyone ever been on a nice location like this one here? Where was it? Nowhere. Southampton. Where have you been? Come on. Antigua. Maldives. Lovely. Seychelles. Anyone? Greek islands? Croatia? Yeah, lovely. Yeah, a bit closer to home. Let's get more realistic. So basically, this is us. Here's us on an island. And this happens in business all the time. You're on your island. You're doing your own thing. It's actually quite comfortable. We're happy on our islands. It works for us. And all of those things that you start to think, life could be a bit better. It could be better, but actually I'm quite comfortable on my island. You just start to accept it, don't you? You just start to go, this is where I am. But I'm generally happy here. And that happens in business. That happens with your customers every single day. They're happy where they are. And if you come along and ask them to take a step forward, come and work with you, buy from you, that can be quite uncomfortable. And this is happening all the time. So if this geezer here comes towards your island on his special speedboat and he says, hey, come with me, who's going? Yeah, so, me too. I totally would be there. I'm totally there, which is, Anyone else? Yeah, you're going. So there's, a few of us in the room. Us three girls are hopping on the speedboat and we're off. But for the rest of you, you need some convincing, don't you? Because is it going to be better on his island? What's he got there that you haven't got where you are? How could it possibly be better? How could it possibly be more than you've already got? It takes some convincing. And like I say, this is happening in business all the time. You've got to try and convince people to move away from where they are and come to where you are. Sometimes it's just a bit too much. So it makes me think about, as I've been talking about, islands. This is Croatia, the Croatian coastline. Beautiful there, beautiful. So if you're here and all of your audience are dotted around, we've got LinkedIn over here. So we've got an audience. Who's in LinkedIn? Yeah, lots of you are on LinkedIn. Hope you've all been connecting with each other tonight. You've got people in their offices. You've got people at business expos with Josh. You've got people over on Instagram. Who's on Instagram? Who's been to Josh's expos? Who's going this year if you haven't? That's all of you. Put your hands up. Yeah, excellent. So, there's these islands everywhere, islands that exist that are kind of the marketing hangouts. And we have to make sure that we go to where our audiences are. We hang out in the places they are and entice them forward. All right? It's amazing. People don't do this. So if you go to the right places, if you go to the right locations where your audience are hanging out, let's say, for example, LinkedIn, you are going to find your people there, the people that need you, the people that want you, the people that are right for you, the people that will pay you, okay? They're there. Your people are there, no matter if it's one type or another. So we're going to get up on our feet in a second. I'm just going to demonstrate this a little bit. When I do this, let's not talk, because it's going to take a long time otherwise. So let's try and stay as quiet as possible. And we're just going to use this as a bit of an exercise to show how important it is that we choose the right marketing channels. So stand on your feet, ladies and gents. Remember what we said, no talking. And what I'd like you to do is, for those of you that are mainly on LinkedIn, come and stand over this side. And for those of you that are mainly on all the other platforms out there, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of that jazz, come and stand over this side. Let's go. And if you're nowhere, just stay sat down. That's fine. You can just stay sat down, and see me after class. We need a chat, you and I. Okay, right. So here's a great example. We've got our LinkedIn people over here. We've got our other crowd over here. Yeah, and some of you guys on LinkedIn as well, put your hands up. Right, so look at that. Here's an example. In this instance, you've got people that are all on LinkedIn, but looks like they see themselves as hanging out on the other channels more than that. Okay, so your people are not just on one channel, they're in multiple locations. Okay, now, let's swap it around a little bit. Valentine's Day's coming up. So, if you plan to buy somebody a Valentine's card this year, or a gift maybe, lads, we want gifts, even if we say we don't. So Valentine's people over here, non-Valentine's people, the unromantics on this side. Valentine's over here, non-Valentine's over here. Not sure on that one. Oh, my goodness. So we've basically, most of us are romantic. Most of us got a little bit of romance in our bones. What's going on, you guys? Think about it. Think about someone that you could send a little Valentine's card to this year. So here, that's another split, isn't it? Okay, so who here sells something that people can buy for Valentine's Day? Charlotte, put your hand up. Jewelry, everyone. See Charlotte? Yeah, so some of you sell stuff that is available for Valentine's Day. Look, there are people that are here for it. They're here to buy. Are you on LinkedIn? Instagram? Facebook? Yeah, so, yeah. Okay, good. All right, last split. Pompey fans, Saints fans. Anyone else sit down. Pompey, Saints over here. What side have I sent you to?
This is Saints.
Saints, Pompey, Saints. Have I changed? All right, I'm sorry. Don't worry. Saints, Pompey, Saints, Pompey. Well, look at that. I wonder why you guys are here. It was for me, wasn't it? Nothing to do with James Beattie. Yeah. So basically, we've got a bunch of Saints fans that are romantics and on LinkedIn. Marvellous. Right, you can take a seat. So I think, what we're demonstrating here really is that you can cut your audience in so many different ways. And they're hanging out in many different locations. And that's something that we need to be really mindful of. So number one, you've got to get to the islands that your ideal customers are hanging out in, right? Knowing that they're there. The second thing we need to be doing is thinking about, right, well, you're on your island. How do you put your best foot forward? And for me, it's karaoke. For you, it might not be that. But you've got to put your best foot forward. You've got to think about how you're going to give them something that they find incredibly valuable. Give them something that makes you stand out from the norm. But not just singing into the wind and hoping for the best, okay? So we really want to make an impact. But more than just a little bit of a clap at the end of your karaoke song, more than just a little bit of engagement like you do on many social media platforms. So we're just talking about LinkedIn as an example here. We need to go above and beyond that. So what we've got to think about is, how do we take them off of the island that they're on? Sticking around on one island is never going to cut it, ever. So what we have to think about is, if you take the likes of social media, it's literally land for rent. You don't own the social media platforms. You're just there borrowing some space for a while. And at any point, that could evaporate. That could disappear into the ether. Example, do you remember the days when, back in the day, those LinkedIn people, do you remember when you used to be able to download your database from LinkedIn and then just upload it straight into your email, and off you go? You've got immediately you've got like thousands of lines of data in your database. Does anyone remember those days? That got taken away. Who remembers a few years back when Instagram went down and everyone was up in arms that Instagram was down? Remember that? Yeah, it happens. It happens. So who's to say that big changes are not afoot and some of these companies, they're not going to let us have as much as they once did? So it's land for rent. So what does that mean? You've got to take control. You have to take control of your islanders and move them on to the next logical place for them. Get them off the island, but what does that take? Trust. Who here has ever taken a step forward with someone or bought something from someone without trusting them? Anyone? How did that end for you, Pam? Not so good. Yeah. This is what happens, right? So we've got to build that trust with them. What do people buy, really? What do they buy? Yeah, so we've got people over there. People buy based on two factors. Number one, they buy on emotion. I'm going totally off topic here, but I want you to know this. They buy on emotion. Yeah, so if you don't resonate with emotion, with their emotions and what they're going through, you won't get them to buy from you. Because the emotional side of the brain, stupidly, is responsible for decision making, which is why I've got so many pairs of shoes. Yeah. I can describe exactly the reason why I need new shoes every single day. Emotion. They also buy based on outcomes. So unless you can actually describe what it is that you've got and the outcomes that it provides to them, you're not selling anything. Emotion and outcomes. Everything everyone buys is based on emotion. You all got your ticket here tonight if you bought it for yourself. There was one chap that came over and said the ticket was bought for him. Who was it? Where are you? Don't worry, you don't have to put your hands up. Oh, there he is. He was like, didn't even want to be here, to be honest. It's fine. But he's loving it now, and he's told me he's going to write notes, and I'm going to go and check his work afterwards, so we're all good. So that's something to bear in mind. No one ever buys your product or your service. They buy the outcome that you're going to get for them. All right, so very, very important to remember that. Anyway, I slightly went off on a tangent there. We've got to build relationships. We've got to get that trust in. So just to give you an idea, if we think about the island again and going on holiday, who meets friends on holiday? Who does not want a friend on holiday? So I don't like meeting friends on holiday, but I attract them for some reason. I attract friends, and my husband absolutely hates that I attract friends. You meet on the island, before you know it, your kids have all kind of become friends, and then there's an expectation, isn't there, that you're now going to be friends with the parents. You've got all this to come, Josh. You've got it all to come. So after this has gone on, you find yourself at the disco that night, and you're doing that whole Spice Girls dance thing with the mum of the kid that your child's playing with. The next thing you know, it's, Spice Girls. No, that was going to sing I'm Just a Love Machine. That's not Spice Girls, is it? I'm not even going to sing. Let's just not go there. So you meet on the island, and then, so you had a few drinks, and then the next day, you see them at breakfast, and you're like, I hope they don't remember me. But they're like, oh, Victoria! And you're like, oh, yeah. And then the next thing is you go out to the sun loungers. They've put some sun loungers by for you. That's really kind of them. And then they're expecting you to go to dinner with them that night. Does it sound familiar to anyone, or is it just me? Yeah, good. This is what happens to people like me. If this doesn't happen to you, you're lucky. So you meet on the island, and before you know it, you're swapping details, right? Because we've got trust now, From that, you exchange WhatsApps or snaps or whatever people do these days. You've got a special birthday event coming up, so you go, better invite them down from where they live. So they come down.
That's all my Facebook friends.
Yeah, that's it. So they come down for your special birthday event. And the next thing you know, they're staying for a weekend. And you now class them as, they're like family to us. They are like family. Yeah. So this is what happens, right? But it's built on trust. And it's no different when it comes to our businesses. So 90% of the time, people are not ready to buy from you. They're not. You've got to build that relationship. You've got to build the trust. So we've got to really think about what is that journey. So when we're thinking about the islands that they're hanging out on at the moment, we've got to start thinking about how do we get them off of their island, take control, and move them on. And the way to do that is all about island hopping. So we've got to take them island hopping. So this is an example of, it's a picture form. Can you see that, guys? This is a picture form of basically a marketing map. So we might want our friends to start out on this island, but we've got to get them off of that island, move on to the next one, move on to the next one, move on to the cash. That's what we want ultimately. So we take them island hopping. So when I talk about island hopping, what I'm talking about is you want people moving around your marketing channels. No marketing channel can work in isolation. We've got to think about how they actually work together, okay? That's what that's all about. So what we start with is perhaps a colder audience. They meet, you guys have met me here tonight, and it's the start of our beautiful friendship. So a cold audience, then they move into a position where they've built up that trust and they're getting warmer towards you, okay? Once they've become more warm to you, they become hot. They're ripe, they're ready for the picking. So that's when they start parting with their cash. That's not to say someone won't come from here right away and start buying from you. They won't. But we've got to engineer a journey that allows for all of those different types of people, the ones that won't buy straight away and the ones that perhaps will. So this is what we're building. So no marketing channel, as I said, can exist in isolation. We've got to build connection. We've got to connect all our little islands together. So this is about building a marketing system within your business. Who's doing this already? Who's got their islands well connected? Yeah, some of you? A few of you? We've got a few islands connected up, yeah? So let's look at this in a little bit more depth then. Now, this is typically a business that's starting out on their marketing journey, even down the line, and is not doing it regularly enough. So we've got this intermittent pulse. So we've got boom, leave it about 3 years, another little bit, leave it about 3 years. And that doesn't mean that you've not got stuff going on. It might be that you've got lots of clients out of this little effort that you made and you're still working with that bunch and then it dries up so you think, oh, I better do that marketing thing again. Instead of having it constant, you're doing it every now and then. Or it could be, and some of you may feel this way, it didn't work. So you thought, this marketing shite, I'm not going to carry on with that because it doesn't work. So I'm going to leave it, and then that time comes again where you think, desperate, need to do some marketing. So you try it again, and you go, still don't work, not doing that anymore, okay? So it's that feast and famine cycle that you can get into. So what we want is more of a regular heartbeat of marketing. It's got to always be there. It's got to always be moving. And that's what we want. We need it to be like this. So that means that you need to keep 3 core plates spinning in marketing. Do you want to know what those plates are? Yes. So these are my 3 plates. So we have got our long-term, medium-term, and short-term marketing plates. So I'm going to go into more detail about this. Long-term, this is more of your stuff that's permanent, your marketing activity that's constantly on, constantly working for you. And down on the short-term, this is more temporary. It's campaign-based stuff that brings leads and sales in the door. All right? So if we look at it like this, this is what I like to call my, I'm trying to think of a name for it now. This is what I like to call my relationship onion. It's not really. I'm just using Mark's analogy over there. Thank you. Thanks for that little giggle. Thanks. So over here, there's you in the middle, and then on the outside, I do need a name for this though. If anyone's got one, feel free to suggest. So outside this outer circle, these are people that are already in your world and they trust you. So these people, they need your short-term marketing activity. They're ready, so go and make them an offer. They're ready to buy.